appreciate your presence to all those who have joined us today. We recognize your presence, Brother Joseph, Brother Carrington, Sister Aida, Pastor Pichu, Brother Gleroy, and all of you who are joining us, or those who will even be joining us virtually. We appreciate your presence. We do what we do every day, share our thinking as a consciousness study class. These are philosophical and ideological class. So feel most welcome. The paragraph highlighted on the screen actually is the last paragraph of this chapter 1, which is philosophy retrospect. So permit me to read it, and then we do what we do usually, which is sharing our thinking. So the paragraph reads, our universe is a natural universe, and its basis is matter with its objective laws. That's the paragraph.
Brothers and sisters, we have come to the end, the first paragraph, which Brother Pigeon has read for us. Once again, welcome all of you. So let's take it in turn to share our thinking of what we think the paragraph means. And yeah.
Brother Kwame, could I suggest that we continue with kind of the
and let's share in a constructive. Sorry, can you repeat that?
No, saying could we continue in the process in the way we've been doing for the last week by asking Brother Carrington to give some light on this, and then we go into the individual people talking about it.
Yeah, that's okay. I will ask Brother Carrington to come in when I think he should, as our resident physicist, and also here to learn. The thinking of everybody here is important. I don't think we have suggested that anybody needs to be a physicist in order for us to have, if you like, a fundamental respect for their thinking. It's a class in which we share our thinking. And in this class, we are all equal. Nobody is more equal than any other person. So we share our thinking. So at any point where whoever is sharing thinks that we need a clarification on the physics, of course, the chair can ask the resident physicist to explain or to elucidate us, to illuminate things for us. It doesn't follow that the resident physicist monkey. I think last week we had.
Your audio is having some problem, please. Yes, Brother Kwame, your audio is on and off. I think a problem, either your mic or something like that. Please try to connect. Brother Kwame? We can't hear you. You are unmuted, but you can't hear. Okay. So let's allow Brother Kwame to connect as he try to work on his connection. As it was, I think, based on his direction, is that we ask members to share code. This is a conclusion of a chapter we've all been engaged, either partially or some have been engaged fully from the beginning of the chapter. And therefore, this is the conclusion of this paragraph. What is your thinking in regards to this conclusion? Based on what we've studied from the first page of this paragraph, or from the first paragraph of this chapter up to where we are, what do you think on this last statement? And what have you learned all along? Do you concur with this statement? Or what do you think further in regards to this statement? Because this is a summary or a conclusive statement in regards to this chapter. So, yes, Brother Kwame, you're back. Yes, Brother Kwame?
No, I was saying, Brother Pigeon, continue chatting until I sort out my internet.
Okay, no problem. So thank you. So
You do sound much better now, Brother Kwame.
In fact, you are better.
Okay.
You're
Yes,
much
but
better.
I need to change my internet connection.
Okay.
Because the one I'm using now is unstable. It will disconnect me going forward. So I need to change it.
Okay,
so
thank
carry
you.
on sharing, brother Pigeon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, Sister Ida, I'll start with you. Being that we've been part of this from the first paragraph of this chapter up to where we are arriving at the last paragraph of this chapter, how or what's your thinking in regards to this short paragraph of the end of this chapter?
I think that it's just telling us that there are natural laws within the universe, and that as a result, it is based on matter rather than objective. When they say objective, no man's law is what I look at as objective. So I think that it's telling us that there are natural ways that the universe reacts to things, and that we should see the universe within its natural ways. I think that's what it tells me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thinking. Of course, there's aspect of objective, and last time in our discussion, there's something that came in as objective decision or objective opinion and subjective opinion, and we will have to explore that further. Brother Joseph.
Yes.
Brother Joseph, what do you make up of this paragraph?
Sorry, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, you are loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm saying that the passage is self-explanatory. But I think we should understand the word objective from the point of view that an agreed a framework, or coming from, like having like science. Science is about certain rules that people agree on. And so that when they come up with findings, or when they have a hypothesis, it can be deduced, or it can be scrutinized based on those objective, agreed points or rules. So it's clear. If you have subjective, then that's a different ball, because everybody has their own approach and so on, their own interpretation. I'm saying that if you have the same approach, then most likely you will get the same result. Might you have different experience, but same results. So I think it's clear. But I think one of the problems is that sometimes we get both of them mixed up, the subjective and the objective. The objective is that it's not about you, it's about what the generally agreed principle or process of arriving at it. And I'll stop here for now.
Thank you for that. Brother Carrington.
Yes. How are you, everyone? I'd like to first start by adding on what the chair said. The fact that I study physics does not mean I am a descendant, I don't know, of Einstein or Newton. And even Einstein and Newton were variously wrong at various points of their career. So as I said earlier, I am here to learn also. So, and your interpretations of the text taken together with your understanding of physics could actually be correct as opposed to my interpretation and my understanding. So I'm not some sort of authority. In fact, it's a failure to appeal to authority. It's a logical failure to appeal to authority. So that's a very good point that I think has been raised by the chair, which I would have loved to raise. To my interpretation of this, I really like the way the previous speaker, I think it was Joseph Antoine, has raised and I think also Ida, I think if I'm not wrong, have raised the idea of the objective. So this needs unpacking, this needs explanation. Regularities of the universe our understanding of laws in the universe are based on this idea that at any point in time or space, the laws of the universe will remain as they are. And therefore, when carrying out a prediction, when carrying out planning, you can plan on the basis of the laws of physics, on the laws of nature. So there is nothing that is going to happen that is going to make Africa's minerals useless 300 years from now. What this means is that if the continent does not get organized, if the continent gets organized, in a century, she will be the most powerful continent on the planet by definition, because of resources. I think the only continent which rivals, the only country which could rival Africa in any way is Russia, and Russia is still very, very far behind. It also means that Africa will remain geopolitically relevant for the next few centuries. And it is our decision what direction the continent and the world is going to take. So I'd really love to underline that word objective again. It is on that basis that we can control the technological development of the continent. This chapter, and I think we are going to discuss this later on, this chapter has really, really driven down this bolt or nut of our universe being entirely natural, entirely material, and therefore subject to possible understanding by human beings and subject to possible, can I say, control or manipulation or harnessing by human beings. So if you start from this position of materiality, you end up with the conclusion that the universe is not fighting you. Neither, by the way, is the universe your friend. The universe is just there. It will support those who understand it, and it will destroy those who don't. And that is what has happened to Africa. We just didn't understand the universe much, much better. In this materialist picture, much, much better than the Europeans in the last 2 or 3 centuries. Now you have to understand the historical development, of course, that the Europeans were good integrationists. They took knowledge from China, knowledge from Saudi Arabia, knowledge from Egypt, Africa, and integrated it, distilled it into the scientific quote unquote method. And this is what they used to overrun Africa, Saudi Arabia, and at various points in time, parts of China. So I think this chapter was trying to build that philosophical foundation to make it as solid as possible, that the materiality of the universe has to be taken into account if we are to do anything useful going forward. So our universe is a natural universe on the basis of objective laws of matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Kwame. Are you back so that you can take on?
Yes, I am back. Thank you.
Okay, can you proceed?
Yeah, thank you. So far today we have only a few of us, and that, I think, reflects the topic, isn't it? The topic we are discussing. When we used to meet face to face, we used to have brothers and sisters join us and then conclude that what we are discussing was a bit heavy for them, so they would rather not. So they preferred the kind of Saturday-like discussions that we have. You can see more people attend the Saturdays, and that's been our experience, that our brothers and sisters prefer the application of philosophy and ideology to a topic than discuss philosophy and ideology by itself. So thank you those of you who are here, thank you so much for continuing to come. So we are hearing our thinking on this last paragraph. But let's remember that this last paragraph is a summation of everything that we have read. So we've heard from Brother Joseph, we've heard from Sister Ida, I believe, we've heard from Brother Carrington. Let's hear from Pichu.
Yes, greetings, comrade. Sorry, what is it? Shall I talk about the highlighted sentence, right?
Yeah, share your thinking on that paragraph. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I like the fact that it says our universe, is a natural universe and its basis is matter with its objective laws. Okay, well, interesting. Universe. I like, when I talk about universe, I like to see, I like to use the word multiverses and natural universe. Yeah, I understand why they put natural universe. Let's say, it could also be, say, it could also be a cosmic universe, but natural universe. Yeah, I understand that. And its basis is matter. Well, because it is natural, then its basis is matter. And I understand that. And yes, it has its objective laws. Yes, the universe has its laws. Yes, definitely. And it also, it has its order as well. Although, it can look disordered, but the universe has its laws and its order. It's all about law and order. And I won't be surprised that there are multiverses, and also yeah. So the cosmic side and the natural side, as well as being the energy and the matter, as its basis, So yeah, so our universe is a natural universe, and its basis is matter with its objective laws. Yeah. So I would take that on board. So yeah, I think that's all I can share. I think I understand the sentence how it is, let's say how it is displayed or written. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can I remind us all that in this space, everyone is equal and everyone is free to share their thinking. And when there's a paragraph on the screen or a set of paragraphs, you don't have to agree with the paragraph. You can, if you want, disagree with a paragraph or a reading. That is important because it stimulates and the rest of us, or it stimulates everyone. So I want to make that point. All we ask for, however, is that when anyone shares their thinking, they must just be ready to understand that someone else might share their thinking that will disagree with their thinking. But just because there is a disagreement does not mean that we should not share our thinking. I want to make that very clear, that everyone must feel free. We don't want anyone to be inhibited from saying what they really feel or what they really think. It's important that I stress that. And also it's important that I also stress that we are brothers and sisters, and we are here because we love one another, and because we love Africa, and because we love Africa to be united, to be liberated, and to be united and to be developed. And it is our love for Africa that is why we are here. And the continent of Africa is us, the human beings, including our land and so on. So it's our love for Africa and the love for our people that is why we are here. So let's let that professional love always be shared amongst us. And even where we disagree, let us do it in a brotherly, in a sisterly way. Because you never know someone's disagreement may be the source of one's learning, and so on. And so I thought I should make that very clear. Okay, so we've heard from Brother Pichu. Now let's hear from the reader, who is Brother Pigeon. Brother Pigeon, share your thinking. Sister Marie, you've just joined us. Just so you know, we are sharing our thinking from the paragraph that is highlighted. And please, let's all also remember that no one is under obligation to share their thinking if they are not ready to share their thinking. Yeah, we encourage everyone to share their thinking, because it is in the sharing of thinking that we learn from you and you also learn from us. Or then you share your thinking. However, if there's a paragraph or a reading that you don't feel that you want to have anything to share, just say pass. It's perfectly okay to pass. Yeah. Thank you. So, Brother Pigeon.
Yes, thank you, Brother Kwame.
Thinking, please.
Thank you. I'm trying to read this paragraph, being the last paragraph of this, and I'm trying to connect back to the key questions that we were to handle. And the one question was,
feel free to do that.
And the only question was, what there is. So what is the universe made up of? And here I'm getting clearly, as the last line is that its basis is matter. So the universe is made up of matter. And the second question was how what there is. How is the matter in that universe? And that is very clear that matter with its objective law, and it is a natural universe. Okay, this actually, when I connect it back again from the conversation, when you talk of when you are looking at the idealism a bit, I tend to believe that there's outside inside thesis, that there's some outside forces or there's an universe outside the universe that is in control of the universe we are in. That there are forces, or either in terms of the idealist, that there's somebody or some other God or anybody else that is responsible of what goes on in our universe. And this aspect is that it says that there's nobody in control of our universe. The universe is natural. And its basis is purely matter with its objective law. So anything that happens in this universe, from either the practical angle of its application, to me it will be like, we should not blame anybody outside the universe for what goes on within the universe. The universe moves as it's supposed to move. It's just moving normally as it's supposed to move. It moves based on its law, not our law, its law. And its basis, as it says, is clearly on matter. So it's upon us to understand that that's how the universe is. It's us to find a way on how we can adapt to it, fit to it, and find a way on how we can understand the objective laws of the universe and understand that its basis is matter and not purely spirits and the rest, so that we can be able to tap into the universe and get the most of it for our own benefit as a people. If we actually specialize that the universe is not natural and therefore there's some forces, maybe ourselves, that control the universe movement or anything that happens here, like sometimes in practical aspect, you can say maybe the whites or the West are actually in control of what goes on in Africa. And that Africa, as of course, it's clear that it's been poor because of the West exploitation. But you must also understand, as somebody has said, that the resources of Africa is still there. It's us to understand that the wealth do not come from the West to Africa. The wealth, whatever they say, come from Africa to the West. And therefore, we as the people of Africa must find a way on how we tap to the natural resources here, and especially the matter, in this case, the land and any resources we have here, in order to make good use of this land we have as Africa to get satisfied or to get everything we want as a people, instead of looking too much of the outside in the basis that there's either the West or the God or the spirits out there that makes us poor or that controls us and that makes us who we are. There's possibility that if we tap to the inner knowledge, we can be able to take use and make advantage of what is available naturally to make what you want, because the universe is a natural universe. That's my thinking.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Brother Glenroy. Brother Glenroy? Okay, we'll come back to Brother Glenroy. Let's go to Sister Marie X.
Sorry, pass.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've just settled down. Thank you.
That's fine. Michael, 5X, can you share your thinking, please?
Hi there. Can you come back to me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine, sir. That's fine. Okay, so we've heard from everyone. Right. Brother Ras has just joined us. So let me share my thinking. I think we've heard from everyone now. Come on, Brother Glenroy. So I would kind of
Brother Kwame?
Yes.
Since Brother Mike wants to say something before maybe you go ahead.
Brother Michael.
Sorry, it was relating more to last week on 2 points. One brother asked, what is faster than the speed of light? And I would say the speed of thought. And a brother asked, does darkness have a speed? And well, darkness doesn't have a speed because darkness is always here. It doesn't go anywhere. It's darkness. The only reason why you have light is because of the sun. So darkness doesn't have a speed. It's always here. If we didn't have the sun, we'd be in total darkness, or any electricity. That's what I wanted to share from last week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I respond to that and say that?
Yeah, sure.
What you have said is not strictly scientific correct. Brother Carrington can correct me if I go astray. So the light is from photons. The photons are the basis of light. But there was a time before light arrived on the scene. The universe is not start with light, scientifically, I mean. At the point of the compression, what physicists call the Big Bang, there were no photons. And even as the Big Bang occurred and the universe began to expand, for millions of years, there were no photons. Photons only came later when the universe had cooled to some point and photons were able to move. And then at that point, you can talk about the speed of light. So there is a sense in which the space itself can be faster than the speed of light. There's a sense in which. And so Brother Pichu shared a lot last week, and it made me think. So I went back to the physics and looked at some of the things he said. And there is a sense in which, I think one of the things he said was that darkness was faster than light, than the speed of light. It's the way he expressed it that was problematic. But I think what he said is borne out by the physics, which is that for space to expand, when space expanded, it expanded faster than the speed of light. But of course, with light now coming in, now that it's expanded and light has arrived, light is now faster. But that what he said in terms of the physics is correct. Brother Carrington, we need you here, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Kwame. My thinking is that we cannot measure the speed of darkness. Darkness is not a physical thing. It is the absence of something.
Carrington, can I come in there? I'm not saying that darkness is fast. That's why I say it's the way Brother Pichu expressed it. One of the things he also said was non-matter. I think I later on understood that what he probably wanted to say was antimatter rather than non-matter. So there is matter, is antimatter. So maybe it's the terminologies used. So I don't think that we are saying that the physics is not saying that darkness is faster than light, but the physics is saying that the expansion of space are the inception of our universe. That is what it's referring to. So I went back to the physics to watch a few videos on that. And so anyway, please carry on. I just thought I would clarify that.
Yes.
It's not the darkness past, but it is a matter, the initial matter itself, before it created the light. Before the photons were free to move in space.
Yes. So yes, you are exactly correct. There is, in fact, it is a period called the Dark Ages. There were, because the universe was just too dense for photons to move. Photons need space to move between this point and this point. So there was no space. There was no space between material, between matter, and there were no photons, essentially, because of that. The universe was very dense. It's called the Dark Ages. You're correct in saying that space-time itself can propagate signals faster than the speed of light. It can expand faster than the speed of light. And this happened in the inflationary ages of the universe. But in the case of antimatter is essentially, let me go back. Antimatter is essentially the opposite of matter. Okay, so matter is made up of a positive nucleus made up of protons and neutrons. We went through this earlier in the class. These protons are positively charged, and then the electrons going around the proton because they are attracted to the center, the nucleus. And this nucleus is the basis of nuclear physics. Okay. Antimatter is the opposite. Antimatter has a negatively charged nucleus out of negatively charged protons called antiprotons and positively charged electrons called positrons. And when matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate each other violently, producing pure energy. But nonetheless, antimatter is subject to the same physical laws as matter. Experiments are being continuously carried out in Switzerland, and I think in the United States, showing that in very, very small amounts, this antimatter are subject to the same physical laws. They drop at exactly the same rate. They do not travel at the speed of light. They do not travel past the speed of light. And therefore, they're just essentially the same physical stuff, but just the opposite to matter. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for that clarification. So I asked Brother Kaji to come in because I was sharing my thinking on the last paragraph. Brother Pigeon, since you control the page, can you go to the first page of this paragraph where we started from, the very first page? Those with your hands up, I'll come back to you once I've shared my thinking. Thank you. So chapter 1, the very beginning of chapter 1, is the critical study of the philosophies of the past. The very beginning of the chapter, brother. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, come down now. Thank you. So, thank you. So, in summarizing this chapter in that last paragraph, I want us to remind ourselves where we've come from and what this chapter is about. So, I'm sharing my thinking on that paragraph. So, the chapter itself, philosophy in retrospect. Retrospect, retro means to, if you like, to turn around or to look back. The word spect from the Latin means to see or to look, to observe, So we were looking at our philosophy in retrospect. Now, the reason we were looking at philosophy in retrospect we then arrive at that last paragraph, is that the critical study of the philosophies of the past should lead to the study of modern theories. Why? Because these latter, born of the fire of contemporary struggles, are militant and alive. And it is only the study of philosophy which can become perverted. It is not only the study of philosophy which can become perverted. So can the study of history become warped, as we have seen earlier in these discussions. And let's remember that Nkrumah focused on the colonized African because he was one of them. And he wanted an end to colonial rule and then the transformation of Africa. So the colonized African, whose roots in his own society are systematically starved of sustenance, was introduced to Greek and Roman history, the cradle history of Western Europe. And the colonized African, is encouraged to treat this portion of the story of man, together with the subsequent history of Europe, as the only worthwhile portion. Can you scroll up, please? Now, this history is anointed with a universalist flavoring, which titillates the palate of certain African intellectuals so agreeably that they become alienated from their own immediate society. So alienation is a key idea here, that in looking at philosophy in retrospect, we recognize that Africans can become alienated from their own society. And if we remember the last line, the last paragraph, the last two paragraphs of the introduction, brother, can you go back to those paragraphs, the last two paragraphs? Yes, yeah, there. Yeah, no, you've gone too far. Come up. The last paragraph is just one sentence, but the paragraph before that says that finally there were the vast numbers of ordinary Africans who, animated by a lively national consciousness, sought knowledge as an instrument of national emancipation and integrity. So for these Africans, the purpose of knowledge was national emancipation and integrity. Of course, it is not to say that these Africans overlooked the purely cultural value of their studies, but in order that their cultural acquisition should be valuable, they needed to be capable of appreciating it as free men and women, we will add. And Nkrumah then added the last paragraph, I was one of this number. So then, if you come back to the next paragraph, but can you come back now to the paragraph where it says, for the third category, so this is a category we are talking about now. Let's scroll down. So second paragraph. So for the third category of colonial student, so this is the third category. Remember, there were three categories. The first category are the liberals. The second category are the conservatives. The third category are the progressives, or what you call the radical Pan-Africanists, if you like. And this third category is what now we are focused on. Yeah, because the first and second categories are not interested in what we are discussing here. Yeah, they are more interested in other things like they want the best for just for themselves or their family. They go to church, they pray to God. They may even invite a man of God from outside to come and pray for them. Then they will kneel down with their wives and let the foreign man of God pray for them. Those guys are not interested in what we are discussing here. Okay, so let's be clear. So for the third category of colonial students, it was especially impossible to read the works of Marx and Engels as desiccated abstract philosophies having no bearing on our colonial situation. In other words, for the third category of students, the works of Marx and Engels were central because they provided the combative substance for philosophical struggle. Okay, and so if you are in this class with us and you want to engage in the struggle, what Nkrumah is saying, what radical Pan-Africanism is saying, is that you must be acquainted with the works of Marx and Engels. This is what it's saying. Now, then Nkrumah then explains that during my stay in America, the conviction was firmly created in me that a great deal in their thought could assist us in the fight against colonialism. Then he goes on, I learned to see philosophical systems in the context of the social milieu which produce them. I therefore learned to look for social contention, and that is dialectics. So now he's looking for dialectics in philosophical systems. You're looking for contention. However, it's not the only way to look at philosophy. Now, can you go to the next paragraph, please? So the next paragraph then says that it is of course possible to see the history of philosophy in diverse ways, each way of seeing it being in fact an illumination of the type of problem dealt with in this branch of human thought. It is possible, for instance, to look upon philosophy as a series of abstract systems. Now, the whole of chapter 1 basically approach philosophy as a series of abstract systems. And that's what we have been doing. We have been looking at philosophy at the two central questions of abstract philosophy, of philosophy seen as an abstract system. So when philosophy is so seen, when philosophy, sorry, can you just go up? Okay, no, it's okay, stay there. When philosophy is regarded in the light of a series of abstract systems, it can be said to concern itself with two fundamental questions. First, what there is. Second, what there is, how what there is may be explained. So these are the two, this is the central position that informed the entire chapter that we were looking at, which led to the conclusion that we read. So the question is, these two questions, how have they been answered? So, yeah. So what is our universe? What is our universe, and what is it made of? And there are only two answers. Yeah, there are only two answers. The first answer is the idealist answer, and the second answer is a materialist answer. And the idealist answer says that our universe is a spiritual universe. It is a universe of mind and spirit. Now hold on, please. Don't hold on. Calm down a little. And the second answer is that our universe is a materialist universe. In other words, the universe, the basis of the universe is not spirit, is not mind, is not ideas, but rather it is matter. So those are the two answers. The first answer is called idealism, that the universe is made up of spirits and their ideas. And the second answer is that the universe is matter. In other words, it's a materialist universe. The whole of the chapter then took us through arguments in favor of idealism and not in favor of idealism. And then it came to the conclusion that the universe cannot, the basis of the universe cannot be mind or spirit, because spirit and mind are themselves categories of matter. And whilst somebody would say that I have a spiritual being, or I have a soul, and so on, sometimes they forget that they live in a physical body and that they are able to think and speak and sing and pray and everything they do because, in this world anyway, because they live in a physical body. Sometimes they forget that. And it went to solipsism, incipient, and so on. And then the paragraph, then it went into materialism and looked at matter as the basis of the universe. And it looked at the fact that we are not saying that matter is the sole reality, meaning that we're not saying that the universe everywhere is matter in the sense in which hardcore materialists say it. So we have hardcore materialists and then we have hardcore idealists. The hardcore idealists say that everything is mind, everything is spirit. full stop. I don't want to hear anything you have to say to me. Please, everything is mind, everything is spirit. That's it. Those are what we call the hardcore idealists. They have their mirror image in the hardcore materialists, who also argue that no, everything is matter, and that is it. There's no such thing as spirit. There's no such thing as soul. There's no such thing as thoughts. All those things are just matter. Full stop. So we have these two contending positions: the hardcore idealists and the hardcore materialists. Our position in this paragraph, the position that comes out is that we don't accept the position of either school. We hear them and we know that they have taken an ideological position. So you can't convince them. You cannot convince, for example, you cannot convince a priest that there is no God. He or she will not listen to you. In fact, they'll think you are blaspheming. In fact, they may even throw you out of the church if you say that. So you can't convince them. Yeah. At the same time, you can't convince the hardcore materialists. Yeah. And there are very hardcore materialists for whom everything is matter. And there's nothing you can say to convince them. And so we know they exist. That is their position. They are not our enemies. We hear them. We listen to them. They are our friends. We will eat with them, and so on and so forth. I said, they are not our enemies. Some of them are Africans, and some of them, I understand that those of them who are Africans and are materialists, they are so afraid that they do not mix with other Africans. In fact, they form their own society, and we don't hear of them because they are very quiet, because they believe that the Africans will attack them and so on and so forth. But we as conscientists do not attack anyone, and we do not we hear them, but we don't think that that position is a correct position. And so that is our position. So we say that matter is not the sole reality. All we say is that matter is the primary reality. The primary reality means that the Big Bang, as physicists explain, that Big Bang is both. If you want to use energy as a different word, you will say that in that Big Bang you had both matter and energy, but they are just two categories of the same thing, which is matter. And scientists now have something called dark matter, dark energy, and so on. So then, Brother Peter, now take me to the last paragraph now. So now I've explained. So now let's go to the last paragraph. So after going through all the explanations, we come across the scientific position, the three scientific positions, which we also came across in terms of how we should do science. All that we came across. We went through all of that. The inside-outside thesis, we went through all that. Rationalism, empiricism, as means of knowing, as basis of knowledge. We went through all that. And yeah, we went through all that. We went through Descartes, as an idealist. He's an idealist. We went through his position. In fact, he said, I think, therefore I exist, which was problematic because who is doing the thinking? And so on. We went through all that. We looked at the position of Berkeley, and Berkeley is the one that is sometimes positioned as the one that said, that is pointed to as the one that said that the universe is made up of spirit and ideas. So we went through all this and went through mind, what mind is. So mind is just an organization of matter, how matter is organized. So your spinal cord, which links to your brain at the back of your head, all that is the way that matter is organized so that we as human beings can do the kind of things we can do. So then we arrive at the last paragraph, which you have all shared your thinking on, except for those who arrived later. And that says that our universe is a natural universe. So this is like a summary. Our universe is a natural universe. So in other words, it is not supernatural. So a supernatural universe means that people use the word supernatural in the sense that there's something higher than nature, and there isn't. The universe is the universe. It has its own laws, and the laws are within the universe. So if you take the sun, for instance, the sun that gives us all the energy that we need for life to subsist on this earth. The sun creates its own energy through what is called nuclear fusion. So it combines hydrogen atoms to create helium, and in doing that, it releases a lot of energy. And that energy, the energy in all its dimensions, is what we receive here. So that energy from the sun is created within the sun itself. There is no spirit in the sun giving the sun its energy. There's nobody sitting somewhere else making the sun to be what it is. The sun, as a sun, is the source of its own energy. And so what it means is that the laws of physics that makes the sun to shine, those laws are within itself. In other words, our universe, and there's only one universe. You can say that there's a multiverse, but when you say that there is a multiverse, there is no reason why you cannot see the multiverse or the multiverses as just sections of one universe. So yes, you can have a multiverse. However, that multiverse can just be a manifestation of that single universe in different multiverses. There's no reason to suppose that is not the case. And so that is the paragraph. So this paragraph is basically ending with that. And when we go on to chapter 2, this is the conclusion that we are taking with us, that our universe has laws in it, and the laws of nature, these laws of nature are the laws that we Africans mastered in the past or mistressed in the past, and then we passed it on to our progeny. Yeah, those who came out of us. I know brother Michael 5X, their position is different. Their position is that the Caucasians are a different creation. That's one view. There's the other view, which is that the Caucasians came out of the black woman. Lucy is the mother of all. And yeah, so the legacy of philosophy, science, and all these learning basically was inherited by the West through ancient Egypt. Apart from the fact that some of us took the learning to them, like when Cleopatra took a lot of manuscripts and crossed the Mediterranean and took them to Rome, that happened. There's that. There's also the case where they came and they waged war specifically to steal the knowledge, like Aristotle. So Aristotle was a philosopher that came to Africa, learned the knowledge. He saw what was there. He became greedy, wanted it all for themselves. He was then a tutor for a young man called Alexander, who was the son of the king of Macedonia. And when he basically taught the boy everything the boy knew. And when the boy grew up, Aristotle managed to get this young man to go and wage war in Egypt and steal the knowledge. And Aristotle then plagiarized in fact, Aristotle plagiarized a lot of the documents. And so if you go back into history, you look at a lot of knowledge, you see that Aristotle is the one that created this. Aristotle is the one that made this. In fact, Aristotle is a source of everything. But the reason is that Aristotle basically got Alexander. This Alexander is normally called Alexander the Great, but I call him Alexander the Thief. So Aristotle got this young man to come and wage war and steal manuscripts. So I'm saying that some of the manuscripts were taken voluntarily by ourselves to the West, like in Cleopatra's case. Some of this was war, so that they can take the knowledge that they saw that the Africans had. And the Greeks themselves say that this is before racism, before slavery and racism came on board, and then they wanted to change the narrative. In fact, Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, the Senegalese physicist that wrote the book, the African Origin of Civilization, True or False. All the evidence that he used, he got them from the history books, from the works that were there in the West. That's where he got the evidence from. So before racism, before slavery and racism, they were quite happy to say that Africans did this, Africans developed that. Even Picasso was not afraid. Picasso became Picasso after he came to Africa. And they always say, there's always something new out of Africa. So Africa was recognized as the mother of mankind, as the font of civilization. There was no problem with that. It was when slavery came that they could not justify their slavery. Then suddenly all this racism came as to the fact that the black man didn't do this, didn't do that, didn't do this, And there were Americans who were listening. They grew up out of slavery, and they look at the history. And when they look into the history, what they found was that the history that were being taught had been perverted, and so on and so forth. So our universe is a natural universe, and its basis is matter with its objective laws. And our priests, instead of teaching the ordinary African, did not do that. They turned us into slaves, even on our own continent. They turned, in some cases, into slaves. In some cases, they turned us into workers. But then they were busy teaching foreigners like Plato, Aristotle, and so on. They were busy teaching them anyway. And so the legacy of philosophy, the legacy of philosophy, or if you want to say the legacy of science that the Enlightenment rediscovered, the works of Euclid and so on. All that, of course, he's an African, don't you? Of course, he's an African. All that history, all that legacy, originally belonged to us. They are ours. They are ours. We are the fathers and the mothers of civilization. It's out of us that everyone came. It's out of us that everything came. And even if you take the position of the Nation of Islam, we have no problem with that. Because the argument is that the white man was created through scientific methods, and so on. The science is ours. But however they came through that scientific endeavor, that science is ours. So that is what this paragraph is telling us. Our universe is a natural universe, and its basis is matter. And this matter has objective laws. Nature has objective laws. And these are the laws that we Africans today must understand. And that is why we started with the education system, teaching students physics, chemistry, biology, the natural sciences, and so on. So that our brothers and so that our children can begin to get back this scientific knowledge. And so unfortunately today, they're all being taught in foreign languages like French and English. Science is not being taught in Luo. It's not being taught in Ewe. It's not being taught in Ga, in the Ga language. It's not being taught in the Igbo language. It's not being taught in Zulu. Maybe the Zulus have advanced on that through the works that they are doing there in South Africa. And this is what I'll end with this. This is what our own brother in Kenya, Ngugi has been telling us, that we need to translate these works into our languages. And if we do that, it will lead to the Renaissance, the African Renaissance, because these works will be in our own language. And the reason the Europeans also were able to get their enlightenment was because they translated the works from Greek and from Latin into their languages, whether it is French, whether it is English, whether it is German. They translated them into their language, so the ordinary people, the speakers of the language, can understand, because the educated people spoke and wrote in Latin. But the ordinary people could not read Latin. They couldn't understand Latin. They didn't understand. They couldn't write Latin, and they didn't go to school. The vast majority. So it was only a preserve of the few. In fact, you know that Newton, his work, was in Latin. That was a language of the educated. Today, the language of the educated in Africa is French, English, Portuguese, and all these foreign German, all these foreign languages. And Ngugi is saying that we must translate these things into our mother tongue. And when we do that, it will spark the Renaissance. So let me conclude with that. Our universe is a natural universe. Its basis is matter. Matter is only the basis. It doesn't mean everything is matter. Everything is a category of matter. But there's a difference between dark matter and the matter that physics knows. Yeah, there's a difference between the energy that physics talks about and dark energy. They're not the same things. So let us bear that in mind. So, but the nature has objective laws, meaning that the laws are outside us. They are outside us. They are there. They are part of nature. They were there before we arrived. In fact, they created us. We are the product of these laws. Thank you. Let me pause there. You see why I let Brother Pigeon ask to start sharing, because I'm sharing, I'm also talking. Then it looks like the chair is talking too much. But that was not the point. Anyway, let's continue. So Brother Pichu, he's left, had his hand up, and Brother Michael 5X also had his hand up. And since Pichu is left, he may come back. It may be just his internet. So Brother Michael, you had your hand up, please. You can come in now. Thank you.
I mean, my hand up was from the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's okay.
So do you want to say something, or should we move on?
No, there was a lot that you said in that, or what you read out, and yeah, to conclude, right. So Alexander, what they say is the Great, when he conquered Egypt, he only conquered Upper Egypt, which is where all the libraries was, right? So he sacked that part of Egypt where the libraries were, meaning that the knowledge, right? If the libraries contained the knowledge, he was taking the knowledge or destroying it. So basically, and that's all he did. He would never be able to conquer the rest of Egypt, right? But that wasn't his goal. His goal was to first make sure that the knowledge that we had would have ceased or taken from us. Right?
Yes, brother. Yes, brother.
Yeah.
That's the point I was making, that Aristotle and his inspiration was his teacher, Aristotle, who had been taught by the African priests.
Yeah, that's right.
So when
before
Aristotle saw the knowledge, like, wow, these Africans have all this knowledge and we have nothing. And so that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And even Herodotus, his story is book on histories, and he documents, I love reading Herodotus because it's like someone diary, and even he's called the father of history. And the Europeans even will challenge him because he was saying that the people that he saw were black, right? And because of their racism, they didn't want to accept it, right? That black people had all this knowledge. But Herodotus was just writing what he saw, right?
Are you referring here to Herodotus, yeah?
Yeah, right? So when you read Herodotus, he actually speaks about what he saw, the wonders that he saw, and also he's describing also things that he saw were, you can see that civilization coming to an end eventually, based on things, very deviant things that he was witnessing. Also, you mentioned Marx's Engels and Marx's
Marx and Engels,
yeah. Well, I mean, Marx's work was the critique of capitalism. So of course we would have, because he was great. I haven't completely read it, but
that's Capital.
Yeah, La Capitale, yeah,
that's
La
Capital.
critique, right? So it's just a critique of capitalism, because in the Western world, all there was capitalism, right? And when you read it, he's breaking down, the worker and his value, and the worker's got value and he's got a price, and that's very very important that we read that and understand that, right? When we're thinking about building our world or building back our world up, we have to understand that. Otherwise, we become just like the capitalists. We just see the workers as just being tools. So yeah, it's very important.
Can I add to something you just said there? So so you're right there. And George Padmore, the Trinidadian who worked with Nkrumah in the office of the African Bureau, he was in charge of the unification liberation agenda across the continent, working with Nkrumah. He actually used what you just mentioned, that analysis from Das Kapital, the rate of exploitation. So George Padmore was one of the leading lights on analyzing the situation of the African worker, or if you like, the trade unions. And yeah, so that is very important. That work to analyze the situation of the workers, the ordinary Africans who were working, and their working conditions and their living conditions, is an important part of the work. And the source of interest in these matters is not the liberals and the conservatives. It is the radical wing. Oh, but brother, remember that apart from Das Kapital, Marx also wrote the Communist Manifesto. So bear that in mind.
Yeah, but remember, they're all theories. He never ever put any of that into practice. It was Stalin or Mao and other, but that was just his theory, and obviously people have taken it, but he never actually put it into practice. Also, you said about, I mean, in the nation we have on the origin of the white man, and you mentioned Lucy. Lucy is a genetic thing, meaning that everyone comes from this woman genetically, right? When they've done DNA testing, that's what they actually mean with that. Our stance is that, and based on our teachings, is that he's not an original man, right? He doesn't think like an Aboriginal. If you look at the destruction he does, he's a created man or a made man, right? So that's our stance, because there's nothing Aboriginal about him. He doesn't even call himself that, right? We're the only people who call themselves Aboriginal are people of colour, basically, being of the land. He's not of the land. That's why he behaves. There's some classic films, James Cameron, Avatar. I mean, if you ever watch those films, he's actually telling the Caucasian story about when they go to a planet, how they behave. It's about destruction, taking, destroying. So that's, I mean, that's, and I'm trying to think of their names, but there's many scientists. Mendel said, Mendel's law, you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you can't get the dominant from the recessive. And he's making the point that, you know, white people couldn't have been here before us. They had to come out of us, right? But then, you know, so you, there's another scientist, female, who made something very similar. But yeah, no, it's a very interesting point. I mean, in our view, in the Nation of Islam, our view is, you know, God, Allah, is the supreme scientist. So when we're talking about matter, dark matter, we call it substance as matter. Holy Quran, it talks, he fashioned man from black mud. He's talking about matter. You know, we're taught, you know, because, you know, the Big Bang is like saying the Big Bang Theory. That's what it's called, the Big Bang Theory. It's actually a theory. It's not actually fact, right? But what does that mean? And how did life start from this explosion? And to the point, there is some truth, because something happened that started life. So if you imagine the universe was matter, but substance is matter, and in this universe, all you have is matter and electricity, because electricity is one of the most you know, it's something that people don't even know a great deal about, you know, but electricity was in the universe with electrons, right? And then we say you have the will of God, right? You have the will of God in that matter. And we say that we're taught that Allah created himself out of triple darkness, right? So he created himself, he forced those electrons to come together. And it took, I think it's 6 trillion years for him to form himself, you know? So, I mean, I can go on and how it happened, and who was his first creation, and why did he create the sun, right? You know, why is the sun? Because the sun wasn't in existence. So something created that sun, which is a ball of gases, as brother said, neutrons, thermal actions going off, creating that ball of fire. So
Well, as you said, you can go on and on. So
yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'll let someone else jump in.
It's interesting, because when Minister Farrakhan talks about maybe the Honorable Elijah Muhammad before him talk about the fact that the supreme scientist created himself. So our understanding in quantism is that matter has powers of self-motion. That's what it literally means. And motion, there are different types of motion. So very interesting.
Yeah, the first law of universe is motion.
Yeah, we can hear more. As you are part of the class, you can always share your thinking with us.
Yes,
Marie.
thank you.
Sister Marie.
Oh, sorry, I've got a weird screen. It's my it's the electricity in my body. Right.
The electricity that brother Michael was talking about, the electrons. Yeah. Please share your thinking with us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going to be sort of inquiring of academic today, but you know, I mean, I'm just so fascinated by these classes, and you put it across so simply and in such plain English, and I'm sure you could put it in plain French and German, etc. And you know, whatever our indigenous languages are. But you know, I'm thinking, gosh, you know, our 5-year-olds should be learning this stuff so that when they go to school in the interim of our, you know, transition to Africa or the sixth region, you know, they'll have a toolkit upstairs to cope with. Yeah. But it's really weird because when I was a child and I was doing like my studies and I would look certain words up and I would see Greek origin and Roman, but I'd never see African. And even in my adulthood, I always used to look up words and think, oh, maybe they're going to talk about an African origin, etc. And there never was. So even young people know that there is something wrong. You know, and obviously as I got older and I started reading African history, right, I knew why I wasn't seeing things related or words related to African origin. So it's important, you know, to find tools through which this information can be transposed to our younger children living in the West, especially university students, because I tell you, the objective, the one objective, right, of the UK's education system is not to dumb us down, but to disable us totally. Yeah, I've been through it mentally. I've been through it. I've watched our children go through it, and that's one of the reasons why I left quite a lucrative industry in the city and went back into education, because I couldn't rest knowing that our babies were going through this, and not just me. I mean, lots of us who were politically aware by that time. So I yield, and thank you very much. You have no idea how you're feeding me intellectually.
Thank you very much. That's what we are here for. And this is why Nkrumah was feared. You see. And when we will come later to some of the fundamentals, and then you can see how that really terrified our enemies. Because through Constantism, its basis in physics and in astrophysics and in matter, basically we were invoking philosophy in retrospect. We were invoking who we were and what we are and always have been before the tragedies of slavery and colonialism and now neocolonialism. So thank you too for your kind comments. Brothers and sisters, we are commenting on our universe is a natural universe, and its basis is matter with its objective laws. And our commentaries are basically sharing our thinking on what we think it is, what we think it means, and it's the last line or the summary, sorry, of the whole book, not the whole book, the whole chapter that we've been reading, Philosophy in Retrospect. So we've heard from a lot of us, but we still have others we haven't heard from. Please, if you want to just listen, that's okay. In all my time of chairing Constantism class, we have in the past had people who come and they just are happy to listen and think through what we are saying before they even begin to contribute, because sometimes what we are saying is so new to them. You know, they haven't heard it anywhere else, and so they're like, wow, and then they just want to listen. So feel free, if you just want to listen and not share your thinking yet, feel free to do so. Although we encourage you to share your thinking however little it is. And we also encourage you to share your thinking because we don't want our brothers and sisters to feel that they can share their thinking because they are not thinking like somebody else. Yeah, all of us here as Africans, you know, have a right to think for ourselves and to think through things and to come to a conceptual conclusion. And we have a right to think. I know that right was taken away from us. It was believed we couldn't even think. In fact, they even thought we were not humans, you know, that we're less than humans. And in some cases, it took our children to revolt, as happened in South Africa, So they were to rise to say, look, you can do this to our parents, but we will not accept it anymore as children. So our children revolting against the idea that they were subhuman and so on and so forth. So we are saying that all of us here are capable of thinking. We're all thinkers. So share your thinking. So we are sharing our thinking on our universe is a natural universe, and its basis matter with its objective laws. So I'm going to come around again to those who haven't spoken yet. If I call you and you feel you want to pass, please feel free to do so. But we encourage you to share your thinking. Don't feel that you are not capable, or that who are you to share your thinking, or somebody else might laugh at you, or no. Here we hold the hands of one another. We don't look down on anyone. We are all brothers and sisters. We hold each other's hands. We support one another. Sometimes we even take your hand through a chapter, so you can just help you with your thinking. So please feel free to share your thinking. So let's go to Brother Ras. Now, Brother Ras is an interesting brother because he's in South Africa. But Brother Ras also has been studying the Malians, in terms of the Malians who knew about the planetary system before telescopes were invented. And so Brother Ras has in the past shared some of these with us. I don't know whether he would like to. I know there's a lot of power issues in South Africa. Brother Ras, please share some of your thinking with us on this paragraph. Thank you.
Yeah, give thanks, my elder, blessed family. Yeah, my elder, it's as you said, you've already said a lot, my elder. You've already said a lot. I'll just add just one paragraph on that research I've been doing on the Dogon, because it's the Dogon people of Mali who have this knowledge of this Canis Major solar system. So it is them who actually had this information prior to the Europeans having to invent their telescopes to able to explore in astrology and to know the cosmology as we know. So even the scientists of the European world were baffled when they find out about this information. I think they started finding out about this information in the 1870s, if I'm not sure. That's when the scientists of the journalists, more especially, visited the villages of Mali and find out about the Dogon people. And so just to close this up, we find out that the calendar that Dogon people are using, which is based on the Sirius star system, specifically indicates that in the year of 2027, there will be the 11th Sigi, which is the celebration that the Dogon people have after 60 or 50 years, based on the rotation of Patolo, a Series B, a small star known as Series B that rotates around Series A, which is Sirius, and it circumnavigates Sirius each and every 50 years. So the Dogon people, each and every complete cycle of Series A orbiting Series B, they have a big celebration. So their next celebration will be in 2027. So it's very huge. It's very huge. It's very huge. Thank you, family.
You're muted, Brother Kwame. Brother
Yeah,
Kwame,
yeah,
reset
thank
now.
you. Yes. So, Brother Ras, don't go yet. So you're basically saying, Brother Ras, that the Dogon people, having understood some of the laws of nature in terms of the planetary system, are actually celebrants of that, and they're going to be celebrating that. I hope you keep us informed when that happens. Yeah, Brother Ras.
Yes, Elder, I will do so. I'll keep you informed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, brothers and sisters, we are discussing the universe. The last paragraph: our universe is a natural universe, and its basis is matter, with its objective laws. The Zulu people also. So science later on said that we come from within the stars. What makes us, in terms of our us as human beings, our structure, the physical structure of man, the water, the 60% H2O that we are, and so on, that these hydrogen, carbon, all these were created within the stars. But the Zulu people knew that. The Zulu nation has words that express that. That they express the fact that we come from the stars. We are children of the planetary system. This is before science did any analysis and said that. I'm talking modern science, by the way, because ours also was science. Let's go to Sister Marlene. Sister Marlene is not ready, so we go to Sister Pamela C. We'll come back to Sister Marlene later.
Yes, I'm passing as usual. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Pamela. I look forward to the day you're going to share your thinking with us.
It will come.
Hey, I would say, wow. I can't wait for that day. Thank you so much.
Thank
Right. You're welcome. Brother Inumi.
I'll get back. I'm a bit busy now. I'm just listening, but I'll get back.
No worries. Thank you. Muthinjiri Waiguru. Is that a Kikuyu name, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? Sounds like a Kikuyu name. Is that correct? Oh, this. His or her. Brother Pigeon, is that a female name or a male name? Okay, help us here.
It's Sister Wangari.
Oh, so it's a sister.
Oh, no.
Is it not?
No. This is
okay, sorry.
This is Father Waiguru. It's both gender.
What's his gender?
Okay.
Male gender.
Male gender. Okay. Yeah, I was not like his speaker is his microphone is gone off, so I don't think he can share. Let's go to, I believe, Brother Hegel and Wash. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Brother Hegel, you have an interesting name, because Hegel, you remember, was the idealist that Marx overthrew and turned his philosophy upside down. Interesting you have the name of Hegel. Yeah, but Hegel, please share your thinking with us. Thank you. Okay, Brother Hegel probably stepped away from his mic. So at this point, we've heard from everyone, I believe. Let me go back to those who we haven't heard from.
But Brother Ego can be in a hospital. He's a doctor.
Brother who?
Hegel.
Yeah, but he's not responding.
Okay, maybe he's not in a position to speak, but that's possible.
That's all right. Thank you. Wait.
Do you know where he's based? Huh?
Do you know where he's based?
Yeah, he's from Kenya. We met.
He's based in Kenya. Okay. Excellent.
He's a doctor in Kenya.
Wonderful. Medical doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've heard from everyone. Yeah, we've heard from everyone now, and I think yeah, so the floor is open. We'll start chapter 2 next week, Thursday. This Saturday, are we going to discuss Haiti part 2, current analysis, brother Pigeon?
Yes, we will be doing part 2, and probably based on the timing we may do 2 and 3, which is present and future. Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, we've gone through the chapter. We've concluded the chapter, and the time is 8:42, 20:42. Yes, please.
Now, in this aspect of this last line, now back on the main key philosophical questions. So, what there is, in this case, either what the universe is made up of is now the answer is matter.
Matter, yes.
And how what there is through its objective laws.
Yes. So yes, through objective laws. So what there is can be explained through is objective laws, because objective laws are the basis for all categorical conversion.
Now, in this aspect of African context, and the aspect that consciousness assumes the middle ground between the two opposing or antagonizing ideologies. In this aspect, now, what does it mean to ordinary Africans or Africans?
So it means that we conscientists must embrace everyone. We must, on our continent, embrace those who are hardcore idealists. We must embrace those who are hardcore materialists, because we are in the middle, so we can always bring them together. They will always be quarreling because they don't agree with each other. But we agree partly with the idealists, because we say, well, of course, there are such things as thoughts, as things what you consider spirit, which for us degree of matter. So yeah, we agree with you to some extent, although we don't think that is a soul reality, is the primary reality. That we disagree with you. But look, we have something we agree on, and then we say to the hardcore materialists, you see, you two, well, we know you don't agree with those guys over there, but look, we agree with you that matter is primary. We think you go too far by saying that even spirit is matter. We think you are going too far. But look, we have something we can work with. So what it means is we are the glue. So we, the conscientists, are the glue philosophically, holding everyone together. And that in itself manifests in the kind of state that we want to be in as Africans. We want a state where everyone is free to think what they think. There's freedom of thought, freedom of expression. If you want to believe that the universe is spirit, it's okay. That's what you want to do, it's okay. That's If you want to believe that it's hardcore materialism, it's okay. We can live with you. You're not our enemy because of that. And we certainly will not persecute you. So what comes out of this, therefore, is an Africa that is really free, truly free, an Africa that embraces all her children in their diversity. An Africa that says that you are all my children. It doesn't matter what your divisions are. You're all my children. So in your diversity, let's work together so that we can all live in peace, in liberation, in development, and so on.
Okay, in this African context, sorry for maybe taking this.
Go on.
In
But
this African
remember, the
context,
question you are asking is for all of us as well. It's not just me. So anybody else listening and wants to come in can also come in. It's not just for me. We are all here equal. Right.
Yeah, by assuming the position that we acknowledge the presence of spirits and ideas, but not as a primary focus, which you say as not as a primary reality, but rather as actually derivatives or actually categories of primary reality. Now, in African context, what might be now the primary reality, and then the derivative realities like spirits and everything must be focused on?
Yeah. So what this paragraph, our conclusion of the paragraph is that if we want Africa to be transformed into a liberated, a united, and a developed Africa, and such an Africa will be using all its resources of diamond, gold, cobalt, cocoa, the human beings. We're going to use all these resources to develop the life of our people. If that is the case, then we have to tend towards the universe as a natural universe with its basis in matter, and that matter has objective laws. And Brother Carrington has touched on this previously when he talked about using the laws of nature, using the laws, we understanding the laws, and then utilizing those laws to build our society. When he explained, he is here, he can still explain when he talked about the foundation of the house, and then you can't build to build the house, you have to have the foundation. He used that analogy when he explained. So this paragraph is saying that we Africans, we who love Africa and want Africa to be liberated, united, and developed, we have to see the universe in a certain way. And the way we have to see the universe is that it is a natural universe. It is not artificial and it is not supernatural. It's natural. That is nature. It's nature. And nature has within its laws. And those laws are what we need to understand, whether they are natural laws or social laws.
Okay. Now, in the context of decolonizing, as the aspect of the key purpose of the aspect of unification, liberation, development, the key message out of this is that through this learning or study, we can decolonize ourselves from some other primary reality or other primary the pre-existing knowledge. For example, those who take the position that spirits is the primary or the sole reality. Therefore, by putting the aspect that matter is a primary reality, we actually decolonize from that thinking that's only spirits that either can be primary or the core reality or the sole reality.
Yeah. So there are two things in what you're saying. The first one is decolonization. Decolonization, or colonial freedom, if you want to put it that way, happened because it was led by Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And the reason Nkrumah became the natural leader of the decolonization movement was because of this very philosophy. That's what he's sharing with us. Nkrumah is saying that without this approach to the universe as a natural universe, with its basis in matter and its objective laws, he could not have marshaled the forces necessary to overthrow colonialism. This is what Nkrumah is telling us. So that is the first part of decolonization. And by thinking like this, you are decolonizing yourself as well. But not fully, because you can be a scientist and still be serving colonial and still be serving imperialism. Our scientists are serving imperialism, or most of them anyway. Yeah. So just the fact that so it's not enough to understand the universe as a natural universe. That is not enough. You have to go further than that. So that's the first part of decolonization. The second part of decolonization is that now, having then overthrown colonial rule, we then have to build a new Africa. And this is where the real struggle is. And in that sense, we need everyone. We need those who think like hardcore materialists. We need those who want to pray, who are idealists. We need everyone on board. But the leadership, this is the point. The African leadership, the only leadership that can hold its own combatively, is the one that holds this view. And that is why China is where it is, because China took this view. You see, I mean, Mao and so on. This is the view they took, and they if you like, got it from Marx. You see, but we have more than Marx. We have our own, if you like, traditional African position, and Marx and that is an aspect of that. You see, because we have all the okay, put it this way. So we are the origin, as Brother Michael X was saying, we are the original man, or the original men and women. Therefore, out of us came all these sciences and the knowledge and physics and geometry and all these, surgery. All these things came from us as the original men and women. You see.
Okay. No.
Yeah. So that is the second part of the decolonization movement, which is still with us. And that's why we're having this class, because we are saying that because Africans are not exposed to this part of decolonization, which is a mind, to free their mind, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. I have no fear for atomic energy, for none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? So this is Bob Marley talking about the liberation, our liberating our own consciousness. And the way we do it is through the last. This is a summary of paragraph. That summary. This summary is a summary of what we should be doing.
Okay. Sorry but let me do the last part of this. That I think is very important to help us also understand some few things. Now, we then mean that our primary social welfare or our well-being, which means our either good life, our either good living, good earning, or good just conditions of us as a people, should be a primary concern to us, and then leads automatically to either our ability to have or create ideas or to be spiritually satisfied, and not that the reverse can lead to the primary, which means it's not that by us having the great ideas or pursuing the spiritual nourishment, as is said, on spiritual satisfaction, can then lead to our physical satisfaction as a being. And therefore, we must focus on how do we use the resources we have, for example, to ensure that our physical being is properly satisfied. It means how do we take care of our land, our mineral, to ensure that we live a good life. And by good life, I remember sometimes back it was said, because we are empty, because our stomach is full, then we can think. And therefore, in one way or the other, is that we cannot actually pursue spirituality or even think properly. Ideas cannot be generated in our minds or even spiritual nourishment if our body or ourselves are in an empty stomach or are not living a condition or a life that's very essential. And therefore, as a break from the current reality of contestation between what is called religion or whatever, is that the African people and African man must first of all focus directly to their physical well-being using the resources they have. Because if they do that, then even the ideas of the spiritual whatever, which is either another category of matter, will automatically come, and not the reverse.
Yes, that is correct. But remember that the idealists will fight you. And they fought in Nkrumah. Nkrumah had to pass laws. The developments of Ghana, what they look forward, what people say are the legacies of Nkrumah in terms of development, like the Tamahaba, the Accra motorway, and so on. All these things, they were not. In fact, when Nkrumah was building the motorway, remember, Ghana built the motorway first before England, even though England colonized us. England had no motorway. Yeah, the M1, England's first motorway was the M1. That is M1 was built after Ghana built a motorway, and then they were ashamed. How can Ghana build a motorway? Our colonial territory build, and then we haven't got a motorway. And then they started building motorways, and the M1 was the first one they built. And after they built the M1, they went on to build more, but we haven't built any since we built that one, which is even now not a motorway. So the idealists will fight us. They will fight you. They will fight you, because what it means is that the resources that will go to themselves and their cronies and their masters and their mistresses and so on, you are saying that those resources should be redirected to the welfare of the people. Because in short, what you are saying is that the welfare of the people is a supreme law. Not everybody agrees. It's our position as radical Pan-Africanists, but not everyone agrees with that. The conservatives don't agree. They think the welfare of only one individual is a supreme law. That individual is either the king, the queen, the captain of industry, however you want to put it, the chief, the president, however you want to put it. And then the liberals also believe that the welfare of the minority is a supreme law. So it's only we who are saying the people, the welfare of the people is supreme law. That's why we have to fight. We have to fight for what we believe in. That's why it's a struggle.
Okay.
And that is why you want to stand for president. So you fight for your ideas. Yeah, and that's why we are behind you.
But I think it's a center position, because in one way, you accept their concept of spirituality and ideas in one way. In other way, you also ask.
Yeah,
You
brother.
also ask.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, but brother, philosophically. But remember that you said that people are hungry; they cannot think philosophically. But that is the crux of the problem. Yeah. The point now is, what do we do with the matter? The matter. What do we do with it? And we are saying that that matter must be used for the benefit of all. And some are saying, no, 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 no. It must only be used for the president and his wife and his close family. And the liberals are saying, no, 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 no. It must be this region or this ethnic minority group or these people called capitalists. You know, that's so I'm saying that yes, we have common areas of agreement, but we don't. But they will fight us. That's the point I'm making. Yes, but they will fight
Okay,
us.
thank you. Let me get to Sister Ida hand was up, and Joseph, please permit me to do that.
No, you can't do that because I'm chairing.
Okay, thank you.
However, I'll pass on the chairing to you now, so you can do that. I'm done. Thank you very much. Brother Joseph's hand is also up.
Sister
Brother
Ida,
Pigeon, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Ida.
I just wanted to ask quickly, because you said that Nkrumah's ideas of liberating the whole of Africa came out of this book. So I wanted to ask, when was the book written? Was it written before he actually got into power or after? Because I'd always thought it was after.
No, it's a good question. Interesting question. So it's either Nkrumah put the book together in 1964. And Ghana became independent in 1964, yes.
So
64
after
was
independence.
Yes. So basically he put together his thoughts on how he did it in this book.
Okay.
The other book also is his autobiography, which is called Ghana. Yeah. You know about that one, yeah?
After. Yeah.
Sorry?
Okay.
Yeah,
that
his
would have been
autobiography.
after independence as well.
Yes. Autobiography called Ghana. That tells us the story of the struggle. But this book basically brings together the philosophical position of our parents. So you can start from the Pan-Africanists all the way.
So you're saying it was written in 64?
Yes.
So like 3
as
years
far as
before he was kicked out. Okay.
Yes. So
okay,
so he put the book together. But so before that he was a book. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a living book.
Uh-huh.
He was a
Yeah,
living
because
book.
people like Padmore would have already gone by 67, wouldn't he?
George Padmore was poisoned. I can't remember what year he died, but he was poisoned. He died before Nkrumah because he was
It was
poisoned.
58.
Yeah, he was poisoned, so he died before Nkrumah. In fact, it's his death that derailed Nkrumah. But to answer your question, the Nkrumah was a living book, and he had meetings in Flagstaff House like we are doing now, discussing. And he was the president. He was the father of Pan-Africanism. He was leading the Pan-African struggle. He was training people in Ghana and so on and so forth. So towards 1964, he then brought all the thoughts together philosophically and wrote this. That's why the book is very dense. It can be something hard to understand because it's like an atomic bomb. You know, you compress a lot into it.
Okay. Brother Joseph hand was up. Brother Kwame, if you permit me, I think that will be
No,
maybe.
you are not sharing, brother. So you carry on. Thank you.
Okay, Brother Joseph, please. Let me check time. But Brother Joseph, please come in.
Yeah, but it's interesting that Brother Kwame used the word atomic bomb, because I was going to say this. I've been reflecting after he cited Bob Marley's song about emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy. And in the context of the supreme law, and my reflection is that, isn't that, and then in the context also what Brother Kwame said here, weeks ago about, the word atomic come from the word atom, Atum.
Atum, the god of ancient Egypt, yes.
Atum, the god of Egypt. One of the gods of Egypt. That
Atum. Atum.
Yeah, it's a saying to us that, and the explanation that, that an atom can work out by itself, but it can also work with another one or something like that. So that we are being called, a clarion call is being given that the supreme law or rule should be the collective rather than the individual. Can we see anything here in terms of some analogy or some, amplification of the idea that Kwame is trying to help us to think in a certain way, have a certain trajectory? I just thought I'll share this.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah. Chair, if you permit me. So what Brother Joseph has raised, as we will see later, will become evident as we go through chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. Because chapter 2, now that we've seen philosophy in retrospect, chapter 2 then says, so what is the relationship between philosophy and society? That really is a question there that we are trying to answer in that paragraph. So if philosophy is the tool with which you fight for a new world that you believe in, what is its relationship to the kind of society you want to build? So that is what this paragraph 2 examines. Pigeon, it's 9:03, just so you know.
Okay, Chair. So I think that will mark the end of this class. Back to you.
That's it. You can close the class. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so as I've said before, that this Saturday we'll be looking at Haiti Part 2. But permit me to remind members that it has taken us 7 to 8 months reading this chapter 1. And that can tell you how intense we've been having this interaction. That can tell you how intense. Some people might have not realized it has passed, the time has passed that fast. But we are reminded that our brother Kwame and the rest of the team that started earlier took almost 10 years for this. So actually, it takes a lot of patience, and I want to appreciate the commitment of people who have been putting themselves here for the last 7 months. And I believe we've gained a lot in terms of creating or raising our consciousness or awareness. And this, we are not still in a hurry to go faster. Actually, we like how we go, and we believe that we can be able to learn together as we move to the next phase. So thank you very much for all the sacrifices.
Yeah, Brother Pigeon, can I mention that it is in that period you joined us, and your joining us has transformed the class as well. And remember that the greatest achievement going forward was when we started now putting our classes on YouTube, because now all the 10 years we did is all gone. There's no record of it anywhere. But now, in the last 7 months, with Sister Ida and so on supporting us with getting our own Zoom account, now we put the recording online. So that for me is one of the greatest achievements. Yeah.
Yes, permit me to mention in that line that indeed I wanted to appreciate the effort of everybody who has actually sacrificed their little time to ensure that they are here every day using their resources. And we look forward to having more and more people coming in. And as I can say, as you've said, in fact, we've reached out to close to over 20 to 30,000 people via our YouTube through this class. And that is actually a record that we have to appreciate. We have over 76 recordings available on the YouTube today of all our classes. So we look forward to move and learn more in the next chapter. So thank you very much, comrades. I don't want to take my time, but we appreciate your time.
Sorry, Pigeon, before you close the class, can I let everyone know that Brother Pigeon is due to travel to Geneva. Is it next month, brother? Is it this month or next month? Next month.
Yes.
And we are doing some fundraising for him. His ticket is $950 return to Kenya. So please, you will be receiving a letter, a fundraising letter. Please, when you receive it, please, we ask you to contribute generously so he can attend that meeting, and then he'll come back and share with us the content of that meeting, which is very important. So thank you very much. I thought I should mention that some of us here have already contributed. I don't want to embarrass anyone here, so I don't want to mention anyone's name. But yeah, some have already contributed to the budget, the ticket, and so on. So yeah, I thought I should mention that, Brother Pigeon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me stop the recording. And thank you very much for that, Brother Kwame.